All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Superbike Angel. Very excited to share not one but two new bikes that are just added to the collection. Can't describe how excited I am. Thank you to Ducati of Newport Beach. So let's get it started. Without further ado, here's the first bike. Very excited about this one, the all new limited edition 2024 Ducati V4 SP2 916. Very excited about this bike. I want to ride it. I want to share it with you guys. The second bike, you got to wait until the end of the video. Little cliffhanger. It's very special. Just to kind of give you a little hint, it's one of 100 made. It used to be over $100,000 when it was first released. So for those of you guys that want to guess, comment below what do you think it is. For the rest of you, you got to wait until the end of the video to see the reveal. Very special bike as well. So let's take a look at the Ducati first. All right, guys, here is the first bike that was added to the collection. Very excited about this one. What it is, it's basically the limited edition 2024 V4 SP2 916 30th anniversario. Basically, this bike celebrates 30 years of the original 916 that was made. It was released in 1994, so basically it pays tribute to it. Here's the exciting part. This is essentially the last bike that Ducati is also making right now with the single-sided swing arm. If you guys have heard the news, the next generation Panigale is already out. And initially they released it probably about a month ago, not out on the market yet, but that bike is going to be it's not going to have the single-sided swing arm anymore, so it's going to be basically like a regular bike for the most part, design wise. Still very special bike, but in my opinion this one just looks absolutely amazing. If you guys recall, I used to have the black SP2. As soon as I heard that this bike was coming out, I decided to sell that one and put a deposit on this one. Waited a few months and finally got it. Couple of cool things that we made, that we modified on this particular bike. First thing was the big one. We added the Acrapovic full titanium exhaust. What a difference this thing makes. The bike originally was about 210 horsepower, if I recall correctly. With the exhaust, race exhaust, and the race ECU bumps it up to about 220, 225 or so. Huge difference in the sound. Obviously performs better. Other things that were different from the regular SP or SP2, this one had a little bit more carbon pieces. One thing was it has got the carbon fiber cover for the exhaust. Obviously when we change the exhaust, this one comes as well too. A little bit more carbon on the front with the vents. And the main thing is this particular bike, there are only 500 of them made versus the SP and SP2, they made a couple of thousands of those, so this one obviously a lot more limited. I do like the livery a lot better too. Obviously it's red, black. It's got the Italian flag, it's got the 916 on the side. I mean, really cool looking bike. Other than that, it's pretty much left stock, haven't changed anything. Obviously the mirrors. Other stuff that changed when we put the exhaust on it, it came with a different belly pan. It's got the basically on the bottom piece, which is this right here, is completely different because the other one exhaust was over there. Got the carbon fiber rear fender and carbon fiber cover for the swing arm and the chain. Other than that, like I said, it's essentially the same bike as the regular SP2, but a lot more limited. As you can see, it's got the 30th year on the seat, got the quick release gas cap. So overall, it just made sense to get this bike because if you look at it price wise compared to what the SP2 was, I believe it was about 41,000 and this one was 45, 4,000 difference. This one obviously a lot more limited, and it came with a bunch of different carbon pieces. So that's what got me excited. And I think from collectability in general, it's gonna hold its value a lot better. I do plan to ride it. The bike's already got about 300 miles. Next thing that we'll do, I'll start it up for you guys so you guys can hear the exhaust, and we'll jump on it and take it for a quick spin. So let's get suited up, and we're gonna take this thing on the road so you guys can hear how it sounds, and do a little ride around the block. All right guys, let's start it up so we can hear the exhaust. Give you guys a little taste of what the race exhaust sounds like. The bike is already warm, so we can give it a few revs. Let me just cycle it through the starting procedure, and here we go. Sounds absolutely ridiculous. Give it a couple more revs and then we'll get suited up and take it on a quick ride. There we go. Insane. All right, let's go on the ride. All right guys, let's get suited up. We had a quick lunch. We'll jump back on the bike and head home, and we can enjoy this day and enjoy this bike. Talk about why I like this bike so much. I mean, look at it. Beginning with the aesthetics, this thing looks absolutely amazing, in my opinion. You got carbon wheels, great livery, 916 Tribute. Got the race exhaust obviously on it now, makes it sound amazing. Carbon everywhere. Aluminum gas tank. How could you not like it? Let's head out. Check this out. I don't know if you guys saw this on the other end, but once you start it up, it tells you the bike, tells you what number it is, number 110 out of 500. Let's go. What a day for riding. Check out those views. Newport Coast, PCH. Doesn't really get better than that. Not gonna make that light. Gotta wait for the next one. That's okay. We'll just sit here and enjoy the views. But yeah, as I was saying, why do I like this bike so much? I mean, so many reasons. Obviously, you gotta start with the obvious, as I said earlier, aesthetics. I think Ducati designed it absolutely fantastic. They knocked it out of the park. I love everything about this bike when it comes to looks. As you guys can remember, I had the first of the previous generation SP2 with the winter livery, which was like a black bike. Loved it. That bike looked amazing as well. The only thing I didn't like about it was because it was matte black, it got dirty so easily. I mean, dust was just like a magnet to it. So as soon as I found out that they're releasing this bike, I sold the SP2, the black one, and put a deposit on this one. Once again, thank you to Ducati of Newport Beach. A couple more months later, bike was delivered, and I absolutely love it. Other reason, you know, with the SP1 and the SP2, they actually made a couple of thousand of those bikes, probably about 3,000 or 4,000 of each. Yes, they were numbered, but it was not out of a particular number. Essentially, every bike that they made had a number on it, where this particular bike, there's only 500 of them made. this one being number 110, so a lot more limited production to begin with. And this one being the 916 Anniversario, essentially 30th year celebration of the original 916 that was released back in 1994. So this bike has a lot more history and a lot more meaning. So from collectability level, I think obviously this bike is going to hold its value better in general, and I just like it, you know. The overall aesthetics looks. Second is that sound. That sound, that exhaust that it makes with the race exhaust, the race ECU, I mean it leaves me speechless. That's how amazing the sound is. You just want to rev it just so you can hear that sound every time. Let's do a little pull, third gear, 8,000 RPMs. It's incredible. It's loud, but it's not too loud to the point where, you know, it overwhelms you when you're riding. For example, if I was to compare this bike to my MV Agusta Brutale Nürburgring, and that particular bike exhaust, sorry, that bike is just obnoxiously loud to the point where you have to wear earplugs to ride it, because it's being straight pipe pretty much, titanium exhaust. This one's obviously full titanium as well, but this one actually still has the baffles in it, which helps muffle the sound a little bit. The reason I kept the baffles in the exhaust in this particular one is because when I was talking to the technicians at the Ducati dealership, they said for performance wise it's best to keep the baffles in it. It creates a little bit of back pressure. Obviously if you're looking just to have it, you know, obnoxiously loud, you can take them off, but in my case I prefer to keep them in it. I think it's loud enough, so keeping the baffles in it, at least for the time being. Also, the way the exhaust is mounted, obviously under the tail, way back, when you are riding, most of the noise is behind you, so it's not, like I said, it's not overwhelming. I like that. Now, you got to talk about the performance of the bike. The power plant, 1100cc, making 210 horsepower in stock configuration with the race exhaust and the race ECU, bumps it up to about 220, 225 or so. I mean, the power is just stupid, insane. You don't really need that much power, obviously, on the street. It's great to have it, but again, we're talking about right there. I got on it a little bit in first gear, not too much. I mean, it was very moderate, twisting the throttle, and you can see the bike wanting to come up the front wheel. Like I said, the power delivery of this bike is absolutely insane. Essentially, the bike has 4 different map settings, or 4 different settings that you can save in it, and within each setting you can configure it any way you want to do the traction control, wheelie control, engine braking, suspension, multiple different things that you can mess around with. In my case, give me a second, let's get on the freeway first. Quick little downshift. You gotta love it every time. Sounds absolutely amazing. Like I was saying, in my case, when it comes to my particular, you know, skills,
I appreciate the electronics of this bike because, again, having a 225 horsepower bike, unless you're a professional rider, you're never actually gonna come to the maximum performance of this bike, you know. So being myself, I would say a normal skill level, the electronics actually help. Gives me a lot more confidence, I feel a lot more capable of, I guess, doing things on the bike. It feels very light. Obviously the carbon wheels, it's a big help to that, but the overall package, considering that it's right around 400 pounds, I believe, it's a very, very light bike. And of course, if you're brave enough and you want to turn all the electronics off, then you can do that as well. Probably not recommended unless, I guess, you're a professional rider or you have some serious skills, because 220 horsepower is it's just a handful. Man, what a perfect day to ride. Sunday, light traffic, great weather. Doesn't get better than that. Brand new Ducati. So with this bike currently right now, I think the bike currently has about 320 miles on it. So it's still in the so-called break-in period. If you talk to, I guess, technicians and stuff like that, or other riders, there's sort of two beliefs out there. A lot of people say that Ducati actually do a break-in on the engine from the factory, so some people are in the belief that you can jump on the bike, rip on it right away, you don't really have to go to the braking period. And then there's the opposite, you know, people saying like, hey, first 600 miles, take it easy, don't go past 9,000-10,000 RPMs, let the engine break in properly, do the first service at 600 miles, and then you can go crazy on it. I put it in my case, I usually go with the second, take it easy for 600 miles. That's kind of what I did with the first SP2. Let the engine break in properly, do the first service, and then after that, you know, you can go crazy on it if you want to do that. But I mean, I don't think I'm missing out on anything. You can still have plenty of fun on this bike and be still keeping it under 10,000 RPMs. Plenty of power, plenty of speed, incredible performance. Absolutely one of my favorite bikes to ride. Definitely a bike that I'm going to keep in my collection for a long time. I love looking at it, I love riding it. It's a bike that is going to get some miles. I didn't buy this bike to keep it in the garage, so you guys are going to see a lot more of it, a lot more videos. That way you guys hopefully enjoy it as well. For those of you guys that have it, same bike, whether it's going to be this particular 916 edition or even the SP1 or SP2, it's essentially the same bike. Obviously this one just has a little bit more special carbon pieces, and now the fact that it has the exhaust, it really wakes it up when it comes to sound and performance. I believe with the race exhaust it shaves about 7 or 8 pounds, but which is not drastic, but it increases the performance by 10 to 15 horsepower, which that's a big number for a 400-pound bike. Makes a huge difference. The other thing that I like about the exhaust is, one of the things that I noticed, Panigales in general, if you're riding them on hot days and stop and go traffic, usually get pretty warm to the point where the exhaust under your right leg actually gets under your right thigh. It gets pretty hot in a lot of cases. Now that I've put the race exhaust on it, it seems like it helps that issue a little bit, because it's a lot more free-flowing, I would say. So that's another benefit of having that exhaust. I lucked out once again. Big thanks to Ducati of Newport Beach. The race exhaust and the race setup, it's actually pretty expensive. That was one of the reasons I didn't do it on my black SP2. I mean, it's close to $10,000–$12,000 for the actual exhaust installation and everything. I lucked out big time with this bike because Ducati of Newport Beach had a big sale for Father's Day. I think it was like 25% off. So it saved a couple of $1,000s on the actual exhaust and on the installation. So that was the reason I ended up getting it. And honestly, I'm glad I did it. For any of you guys considering it, if you can afford it, I would say it's the one upgrade that you should probably do on this bike. Other than that, I mean, the bike doesn't really need anything. Again, carbon wheels already on it. And once you put the exhaust, I consider it the full package now. So yeah, this basically, hopefully guys, gives you a perspective of what the bike is, why I'm such a big fan of this particular bike, why I like it so much. It's an incredible package. Best way to describe it is adrenaline machine. Every time you jump on it, you're just smiling from ear to ear. Hopefully you guys can see that perspective from the video. You know, I know usually it's hard to tell just looking at a video, but you gotta take my words for it. It's absolutely amazing.
That was a short ride, but man, this thing is so much fun to ride. It's such a easy bike, such a fast bike. Sounds absolutely amazing. Hopefully you guys were able to hear through the video and through the microphone how incredible this exhaust sounds. For those of you guys that have like the V4S or SP1, SP2, and you have a chance to get this exhaust, I recommend it. I know it's not cheap, it's pretty expensive, but I think it's definitely worth it. I was actually lucky because I bought it during Father's Day, and Ducati Newport Beach had a crazy sale, so I had to get it. But yes, it is an expensive exhaust. Here we go. Once again, here's the bike. Stay tuned. Like I said, there's going to be another ride, and there's a cliffhanger coming up. Here's what the next bike is. All right, guys, as I promised in the beginning of the video, here's the second new bike reveal. This one is also Italian, but no, it's not a Ducati. As you guys probably know, I'm a huge fan of MV Agusta, so here it is. This is the 2006 MV Agusta F4 CC, one of only 100 bikes made in the world at that time. And as I said, this particular bike at that time was 100,000 euros, which was equivalent to about $120,000. So let's do a little quick around video, and I'm gonna be doing another follow-up video strictly just on this bike, so stay tuned for that as well.